Okay, I'm going to be doing the oral hygiene instruction for Thomas Small. Alright, Thomas, so do you remember earlier in the appointment we took some x-rays? We also did some probing depths where I was calling out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and some 8s I called out. So those numbers, usually between 1 and 3, is healthy, normal tissue. But I don't want you to get concerned or anything since I called out some numbers higher than 4. So anything 4 and above are a reason for concern. And usually that can mean bone loss. But in your case, that does not mean bone loss. I looked at your x-rays right here, and your bone loss looks very healthy and normal. So the medications that you're on for your seizure disorder, your epilepsy, they can cause your gum tissue to become inflamed and enlarged. Also, do you remember when I put on that purple disease detecting liquid on your teeth and I showed you in the mirror some areas that still had some purple and some pink, and it was like all over your mouth? Well, that is biofilm, is the fancy word. That is just bacteria and germs that are sitting on your teeth. So I know that you have voiced some frustration that you haven't been brushing for a while because you feel like the people that you're living with keep stealing your toothbrush. Is there a way that you could maybe put your toothbrush in like a hiding spot so that way that they won't mess with your toothbrush anymore and we can start brushing a little bit more at home? Because next time when you come in, we're going to work on your brushing later in this appointment, but next time when you come in, we want to see less purple. We like to see about 10% or less. That's a good number. So, I want you to just look at your x-rays and you see some of those that have that silver, or look at your intraoral photos and you see some of those areas that have those silver fillings. Well, those were areas where the bacteria got on your tooth surface and it caused decay or a cavity, you might know it as. And we went in there and we fixed that area of decay, and that's where the biofilm got on your tooth surface and it stayed, and we weren't brushing good enough and getting it out of there, so it created a hole and it demineralized the surface of your tooth. So that's why we had to go and fix it and pack it with that silver filling. So I see some areas where you still have some decay, or you have current decay right now. So we need to work on our brushing at home, and we'll fix those areas where you have a cavity. So when you come back in, we won't have any new areas with the cavity. So I would, at this time, after showing him his x-rays and going over his pictures and going over biofilm, but I kind of minimalized it because I know that he is frustrated with his oral hygiene and everything. I wouldn't want to go too much in depth about it at this point and overwhelm him because of his mental intellectual disability. So I would just keep it real small and simple. I would then ask Thomas to show me how he brushes, and I know that he stated that he hasn't brushed in a while, but I would tell him, so Thomas, how would you, since you haven't brushed in a while, can you please just show me how you would? At this time, I would sit there and critique to myself mentally what I would want to change. I would probably recommend the phones method, just start out with his intellectual disability. A power toothbrush would be my first recommendation, but with his epilepsy, it is loud noises set off seizures. So I would definitely not go to a powered toothbrush because of the loud noises that it creates, and it might set off a seizure. So I would keep him brushing manually. So I would then say Thomas. So we're going to start out with brushing in small circular motions. And this is how I want you to brush at home. You can sit in one area and go about 5 circles. So you're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then maybe move a few teeth forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And keep going all throughout your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And since, remember earlier we were talking about how your gum tissue was a little inflamed because of the medications that you're on, also because of all those purple areas, that the bacteria is sitting on your teeth and it's causing a little bit more inflammation as well. So that's why we got those high number readings, is because it's creating a false pocket and a false reading in a high number. So when we're brushing, we want to focus on that gum tissue as well and massage that gum tissue, and that actually will help your gum tissue kind of shrink back up and go down smaller. So we really want to focus on your teeth, getting that, and then also focus on massaging the gums. So on your areas on the back sides of your teeth where your tongue sits and hits, I want you also, with your front teeth, I want you to point the tip of your toothbrush down towards your toes and just go up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each tooth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that's too difficult, just kind of go back and do little circular motions. It's okay. We're just going to start out with this right now. So I would start out with just the phones method, and in a few more appointments, if everything's going right, and I ask him with his oral hygiene instruction when we hit on it at the beginning of the appointment after I do my plaque index, if he has the phones method good, then I would recommend the modified BASS, but that would be further on in appointments. I would also recommend a fluoride mouth rinse because of the decay, but I'll make sure that it was an alcohol-free mouth rinse since the medications that he is on causes dry mouth. I would not recommend, I would keep it simple and not do flossing at this point. I would tell him to floss and of course, but right now with the intellectual disability, I really want to get him a toothbrush in his mouth to just kind of get the biofilm off the teeth since there's a lot of buildup in his pictures. So that would be, in a nutshell, what I would recommend for Thomas. And then when he comes back in for his next appointment, we would do another plaque index, and I would just make sure to make more modifications, and if he's doing well, recommend a different method, and then add in flossing.